Sudeep, my next question is a very perpetual question and a very straight question. Why is Test cricket under so much of threat from T20, and is T20 going to rule the roost? Because I mean, this is a logical corollary of all the questions we are having. We rightly decided that pink test is a problem. So, what do you think, Sudeep, is going to happen, and why is T20 such a big threat for test matches? If test matches are on the rise, we all discussed baseball, we are discussing test matches are having results, but T20 is seen as a potential threat, as Owen rightly said. ODIs are on the decline. So, what do you think, Sudeep? Why is T20 giving so much of problems to
See,
test matches? Over to you, Sudeep.
it's a basically it's a generational change. What we are witnessing. The young crowd. They are not very much interested. They don't seem to be much interested in Test cricket. The interest level is very low compared to T20 or an ODI. Even if in fact the ODI is now getting sandwiched between tests and it's neither here nor there type of things. The ODI. So I think that this T20 craze is going to continue for some more time. It is going to continue till we may see a T10 match tournament. In the near future. I won't be surprised. But the thing is that the Test cricket, in order to stay relevant and sort of revival thing, the other inspire other than India, the other Test playing countries also need to come up. With something. To so that to revive this game, the Test cricket. See, we are hardly seeing, other than the Sena countries, there is hardly any, uh, you know, uh, 5 match series involving either Sri Lanka or Pakistan or West Indies. I think you are mute, Rahul. You are mute, Rahul. You are mute.
Yeah, sorry. But to counter your question, Sudeep,
Hmm.
West Indies is playing 17 T20s. Afghanistan is playing 20 T20s,
No,
whereas they
that
play
is the
one or
thing.
two test matches. So
That is
that
the
is
thing,
what
and
I'm
that
trying to
is
tell you. That is
the
a
lure
shock.
of
Then test cricket is going to die. Definitely.
money is too much now, because the commercial consideration is now the most important factor amongst all test playing countries, because no cricket board is as rich as the Indian cricket board, the West Indies cricket board. In fact, they have to survive. The most of the
We
players,
discussed
they,
this. We discussed this in a
we have
prior one of the
discussed this,
shows.
na? So see, the threat is there. Test cricket threat is there, but it has to maybe evolve with the times. Maybe some kind of maybe a new format type, or we may see in the near future. But as
We
of
have
now,
a
of course,
question on that. We have a question on
a
that. We'll
world
take the
then this
question.
World
Yeah.
Test Championship is a welcome step. It has revived the interest in the game. Test match format in the
Because
format.
when T20 started in 2006 and then the seven World Cup we won, there was a substantial drop in the ODIs, very, very big drop, which happened
Yeah, yeah.
post, say, Saurav Rahul and Dravid and Saurav Rahul, Sehwag, they all retiring on the end of 10, and Sachin. If you
See,
see between 2013 onwards, so India has played very few ODIs, very
very few.
few.
And
Which,
see that
yeah,
this Asia Cup is a big example. It used to be a 50 over format. Now it is in
correct.
20 over format. So see,
So
I'm telling you
you
that test cricket is going to survive in the long run, but this ODI is going to be, is
so
the
you
real
you are
threat.
saying ODI is a big question mark.
It is neither here nor there now. The
Not
test
there.
cricket is going to.
A lot of people are saying to scrap ODI also. I don't remember exactly. I just read an article a few days
Yeah,
back that
see,
someone
hard.
said that ODI needs to be scrapped, which is a very
I,
shocking thing for
I
us. We
don't
grew
even
up
remember
watching
when
a.
India last played the ODI. It's been almost a year. Almost, we are almost coming to.
I think so. I think so.
I can't remember
India
when
plays
India
only
played the
T20
last
and
ODI.
test matches. I
Yeah,
also can't
it's
remember. I
playing
also can't
T20
remember.
continuously, over the last
Yeah.
1 year.
So
So this is the
that is the
so
threat.
ODI
That is exactly the
ODI will
threat.
face the biggest threat. Test match cricket is going to survive, but the other countries must come up. They must promote the Test cricket. Unless and until they play more Test matches, this Test cricket, it will be restricted to only Sena countries in the near future.
Thank you, Sudeep. I think it's a good, valid point you made. And we need to look at ODIs. Maybe we'll have a show on ODIs also. Amit, a very, very difficult question. The money in IPL, normally the money in IPL for every country, we have discussed when the West Indies show also, we discussed the decline of West Indian cricket. The money in IPL thrives test matches for most of the countries now, whether it's the Big Bash in Australia, questions I'm keeping it out, whether the CPL, we get the Pakistan Cricket League, India IPL definitely is the largest money churner. Money in IPL is helping test matches to survive. But as Ayan rightly pointed out, outside the SENA countries, say for example, if India, the reason why India did not get the next three WTC final in June is because if a neutral country plays, India will not watch the test match. That was the logic in which India lost out there because BCCI was trying to get the 27, 29 finals at Ahmedabad and Eden for the 31. Then they lost the three cycles. Next three cycles also the finals will be in London. So my question to you is, we use the money of IPL to promote test matches and we say that test match is surviving because the money is coming from IPL. But we are not promoting test matches in India by giving centers, which are weird centers. And we are not trying to play the ping ball also. So there is a lot of dichotomy in the board, whether we want to promote test matches. We are saying that the T20's money is being used in test matches. What do you feel is the problem? I mean, what you can generally see that how can T20 be then negotiated? I mean, how can T20 then play its major part in reviving the test matches if test matches do have a general death, as we are saying, that test match is going to die generally. So what is your thought on this very complicated process? That T20 money is used in test matches, but we don't want to play test matches.
Look, I mean, it's an open secret that the BCCI earns most of its money from the IPL and bilateral white ball series. Like earlier, it used to be like prior to IPL, it used to be kind of the test matches and the ODIs, bilateral ODIs. And now it's all about the IPL and the bilateral white ball T20 series. That money indirectly subsidizes test cricket, which you rightly pointed out. And see, since the stadiums in India often remain, I think, maybe half empty, except for some of the marquee matches like, let's say, India, Australia, or rarely India, England. So if you see, in contrast with Australia or UK, in England, Test cricket is still the crown jewel, right? I mean, Ashes is equivalent to national obsession. If you see, with full houses, I think you have gone to UK, so you have seen full houses at Lords, the Oval, Edgbaston. All these places are always packed up with crowds, right? In Australia, as Ayanda was pointing out, Boxing Day it will be always, I mean, it will be always hosted in Melbourne, and
I have watched two Boxing Day tests at Melbourne, and both the test matches were 110,000. So I mean, you can
yeah,
imagine. I mean, the craze.
yeah. So see, I mean, I know that. I mean, this, I mean, in Australia, this is a kind of a cultural event that guarantee sellouts. Okay, so but having said that, in India, if you see, I mean, coming from, let's say, this 90s background mainly, so I have, what I have seen or what I have understood over the years is that fans prefer IPL because it's shorter, flashier, and fits modern schedules. Just look at in this way. I mean, we are not deriding Test cricket, but it fits our modern schedules with our work life and everything. Test cricket gets crowds mainly in Kolkata, let's say, Chennai, Bangalore, and mostly if it is weekend, plus, let's say, the opponent is high standard, someone like, let's say, Australia or UK, I mean, England or South Africa, maybe you will get full houses. So, yes, without IPL's money pipeline, tests in India would have struggled to remain financially viable. Now, your main question is how can T20 and tests coexist in this, I mean, in this kind of situation,
Yeah,
right?
because when
So,
T20 money is used to subsidize test matches, but we don't want to play test matches. So how do the dichotomy work out is my question.
yeah, see, I mean, see, as I was telling that I am very pretty much old school. Like, you know what, I tell my son, I mean, though he doesn't understand cricket too much, but whenever I see or watch cricket on my mobile or the iPad or TV, I try to tell that this is the pinnacle of our sport. You have to watch it patiently for the entire day. So this is how I try kind of. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have to be a better storytellers. See, unless and until you, I mean, earlier when we were young, I mean, we used to hear stories from our parents, like usually our dads or maybe our grandfathers about test cricket and how cricket is being played, all those things, right? Uh, so so test cricket survives on context. What I personally feel, if it survives on context, then if you think in the modern world, the World Test Championship, I mean, which was introduced by ICC, I think in 2021, it was a very good step. but it still needs stronger branding. I mean, if you see, if you heard what Sudipta was already telling, that I mean, more and more countries should come up and kind of promote Test cricket. So it needs stronger. I mean, it will require a stronger branding. And Ashes is huge. Why? Because of 140 years of stories. So people of maybe my father's generation, they have heard so many stories about Ashes, how Ashes was being played back in the 1870s, or Charles Roger Bannerman, those kind of guys who were kind of pioneer, or let's say someone like Eddie Collis, Bradman, and then Larwood, all those guys. I mean, I used to hear the story. So better storytelling is something that we can always try to kind of promote Test cricket. And also, what I personally feel that financial incentives, if boards use, I mean, if BCCI use this T20 revenues like IPL, or maybe if Cricket Australia uses a Big Bash as kind of T20 revenues to offer bigger contracts for test specialists. So let's say someone like Cheteshwar Pujara, or maybe Usman Khwaja for that matter. Players won't feel pressurized to beach tests, right? I mean, if you are paid handsomely, then why will someone like I mean, maybe like someone like Surya Kumar Yadav, or maybe I don't know. Many people these tests and they want to only kind of play. Jasprit Bumrah, I have heard that he will be playing only in this Test championship, and then if he, in order to prolong his career, he will be only looking into kind of white ball cricket. So see, and England pays centrally contracted Test players handsomely. BCCI also could emulate this more strongly for the red ball stalwarts, right? I mean, we have red ball stalwarts in the form of, I mean, we already had one, Cheteshwar Pujara, he retired. I don't know how much more Ajinkya Rahane can play, but still, maybe he has something to offer us. I don't know, but my take, if you ask me, like in India, IPL is not just saving tests; it's making them possible because sponsors these days stick around due to overall cricket revenue. They will not stick around only with the test revenue. So to keep tests alive, test cricket alive globally, the formula is for me is pretty simple: IPL for money, WTC for context, to get more result-oriented matches, to make things more
The
even.
money, the money will come from IPL anyways.
Yes, yes. So let's put it this way: IPL for money, WTC for the text. I mean, context for all the matches, and marquee rivalries for crowds. Marquee rivalries when I'm talking about. So let's say India, Australia, England, India, England. Maybe India, South Africa. We'll see how it goes in the month of November. England, Australia, the Ashes. Maybe I don't know if Pakistan is ever allowed to come to India, or India goes there. I don't know. We'll not debate on that topic. Finally, I would prefer fan-friendly tweaks for engagement. So Test cricket will never be as packed everywhere as in Australia or the UK, but it doesn't need to be, right? I mean, it just needs enough context, money, and the honor to keep players motivated and fans hooked to the screen or to the match. That's what I think.
Thank you, Amit. I think very well put in context, especially the WTC one. Thank you. We have just two more questions to take in about 5 minutes. So back to Ayon. And this is a tough question. Ayon always gets the tough end of the rods. Do you think, which has been proposed, I think, by, again, forgetting names, pardon my age, I think there was a couple of, I think, England cricketers and one Sri Lanka. I think Sangakkara, maybe. I'm not sure who has proposed this. I'm not sure. Do you think 4-day tests instead of 5-day, like the Ranji Trophy has now become 4-day, is the going forward savior or the answer for surviving of test matches to reduce 1 day and go all out? Do you think 4-day test match is the future?
If you really ask me, Rahul, how many test matches these days go into the 5th day? Anyway, most test matches.
The England-India series, I think all the test matches went.
Did.
All the test.
That was quite a remarkable series because, as I think England purposely, made the pitches a bit flat because India, for a change, had a bowling team which was comparable or even better than England. Right? English bowling was its weakest ever that has played India in a bilateral series in England.
In
Right?
England,
So,
the last 40 years, at least for last 40 years,
absolutely
could be the
the
weakest.
best, probably. So
The
that is
horrible.
why to suit themselves, they prepared pitches like that. So that is an exception, if you ask me. I think if England gets some again some tall, well-built, they have tall, well-built fast bowlers, but the quality is a bit missing. But I do feel that in the next 3-4 years, this Josh Tongue, etc., might mature more, and you would get back to spicy pitches that we have always had in England. Mostly, I mean, I do not
But
recall.
this 4-day test match, I think, is coming into for a lot of ex-players are saying that it should be a 4-day now. So what is your thought on that?
So
To survive,
basically,
for
what I
survival
feel
of the
is
test.
that, what I feel is that people are really concerned about patience of the audience. This is, I mean, and especially in India, because of the fact that you are again choosing not to play in the main test centers and all. If the board has a policy that we will not, I mean, we want to give games to
Rotate new centers, yeah.
Jamshedpur and Ranchi and whatever your Badlapur or whatever.
Dharamsala.
Dharamsala and
Yeah,
all that.
Dharamsala is already
So
hosted.
that if you want people to come, you have to change the format. I mean, 5 days is way too long for people to not go to their workplaces or something and come and watch cricket. That is there whether you want to even these days, even in India, you barely get draws, right? Because India now makes mostly extremely spinning tracks, which get over in 3 days. So, for me, if you formally change it to 4 days, I think you are taking a little bit out of the game because, see, in the Sena countries, people come and watch games for 5 days. I think it's a very drastic decision to actually change the format for something that has worked for 140 years. But if you really think that India, being the biggest moneymaker of the game, is struggling to have enough audience come and see Test cricket, and because the policy seems to be this rotation and all, maybe it can make sense to make it 4 days. But see, by the way, this is not new. I mean, okay, this making the number of days less is a new thing, but Test cricket has indeed played with duration. We used to have, there was once upon a time when there were no end of, 5 days was not enough. We have had the famous example of the timeless test between England and South Africa, where finally England had to catch a boat. That's why the match had to be ended, right? So we have had tests which have gone for longer times. Right, so shorter times people have not even thought, because the world of those days, the cricketing world of those days, Test cricket was everything for them. So they wanted more and more of the game. Now, if people have the attention span has gone down. So I think it may be worth it. I mean, Ranji Trophy has become 4 days. It may make sense.
Sheffield still is 4 days. Sheffield is 4 days.
But see, I am divided at this, because I anyway feel that most games don't go into a 5th day. But then even if your games are anyway ending in 4 days, maybe make it 4 days. Maybe that also gives the prospect of a draw. Probably it increases the prospect of a draw.
Yeah, it increases. If it is a 4 day,
might do a bit of service to cricket. Maybe one has to accept the fact that life has moved on, humanity has moved on, and cricket is anyway a very impractical sport, right? So a game which goes for 8 hours, 7 hours at least. I mean, Test cricket 1 day, 7 hours outdoor game. There is no other game which compulsorily goes for 7 hours. You have test matches and all which last long, but 7 hours is way too long. So I think cricket needs to be realistic. 7 hours into 5 is 35 hours. That is remarkably long. Maybe time has come to accept that humanity has moved on, and maybe even 28 hours is probably fine. So one possible. I think it's. I would say that this is probably something. If people think that survival is primarily important, maybe one can think of it, because I do not see something
Amit
negative.
had a good point also, saying that the money comes from IPL is fine, and the way forward is WTC. That is also good
So
logic, basically.
another
The
thing I
logic is
feel,
not bad for
see,
Amit, which you
I
said.
feel another thing, Rahul, this 4-day would give this advantage of starting close to the weekend. So suppose you start on
Absolutely.
Thursday, then you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
If
That
you
makes it,
if you
no?
notice, most of the test matches in England start in Thursdays. Most of the
Yes,
test matches in
yes,
England.
yes. The
They
problem
start
becomes that Monday, because
Monday, yeah.
Monday is the first day of the week, and getting leave for that is a bit of a, it's not so
Correct.
easy. I'm
Correct.
sure Amit would agree with us. Getting a leave
Yeah.
on Monday is really
Monday,
tough.
correct.
So I think 4-day test matches
We in
that
India
way.
start in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We start all any day.
Yes,
But
yes,
Australia and South Africa, Australia and England
So,
mostly start on Thursday. Mostly.
one thing that the Indian board can think is that make this, sort of a uniform kind of a policy that test matches would start on Thursdays. And one can even think of Thursday evenings. You maybe have whatever. I mean, I'm proposing a
So
revolutionary thing.
basically,
Yeah.
a pink test is coming into
No,
play
no,
again.
Rahul. What I'm suggesting
You
is
said evening. You said evening. So evening
No.
test matches are coming
So,
into play.
I'm
The
saying-
people will come and watch after
See,
the.
I am suggesting something more revolutionary. I am saying you play Thursday and Friday evenings, Saturday, Sunday you play in mornings.
Oh, the mix and
Okay.
match. Oh.
Yes, because why I'm saying that.
But then
see,
what happens if you play in the evening and you finish at 2 in the night? Then morning 9 o'clock, I don't think
No,
anyone
2
will play.
o'clock is too late. Don't finish at 2. You start at, say, 4 o'clock and you
4
end at
o'clock, then you
11.
finish at 11. And
And
then
then
next
next
morning
day,
at 9 o'clock.
11. No, 11. You start at 11.
11,
And
okay.
end at 5. 5 or 6.
Revolutionary.
Or
But
10:30.
might
Because now, why
happen.
I'm saying that is the first 2 days in India, anyway, you should not expect too much of spin happening. Right?
Right.
So the pink ball disadvantage that comes to spinners, that might get negated, because on the red ball, when you get on Saturday, Sunday, which is like, the pitch is older, you do get help, and then that gets more variety, more challenge,
Correct,
more
correct.
interesting. Make it more interesting. So I propose, a new revolutionary
Yeah.
thing.
Good,
2-day
I
pink,
think. Good
2-day red.
points. 2 days evening and 2 days night. Thank you, Ayan. Thanks. Our last question over to Sudeep is, do you think, Sudeep, that the pitches, and we have discussed time, we have discussed money, we have discussed the length of the test matches, we have discussed the duration and the pink ball, of course, these all would come in the survival. Do you think that, because this question has come after the England-India series, do you think the nature of pitches has an important role to play in survival? Because the baseball theory, the flat decks were perpetuated by England for their teams to score at 6.5 or 7, which we discussed with Amit. So basically, England wants to prepare flat decks, which has no juice, no spin, because they normally don't have spinners. Only one spinner, which is Shoaib Bashir and Rehan, which do not play. So do you think these flat tracks and baseball is a good example and good future for Test cricket, and how would Test cricket survive with this type of baseball pitches? Over to you, Sudeep.
I think, see, this England pitches is an exception, but otherwise, you see the Australia, New Zealand, or Indian pitches, they have remained more or less the same over the last 2 decades or 3 decades. There has not been much change
New
in the
Zealand
nature of-
pitches, which Ayan had pointed out, New Zealand pitches are very cold and very swinging. They're an
and it-
extreme of England.
and used to be always that has been the
Always,
case. There
yeah,
has
yeah,
not been
yeah.
much change. So
But this
England is an
baseball series has
Yeah.
drawn a lot of flack and credit with so much of
Yeah.
flat decks that no one could. The bowlers went for a toss basically.
Yeah,
This series.
but still, it is producing results at the end of the day, test match. More than the pitches, it is the advent of T20 has changed the temperament of batsmen. It is this, as
No, my
rightly-
question was not that. My question is, if you get a bouncy Gabba or Gabba is not so bouncy now. Can you play those T20 shots to ensure that the test match finishes in 4 days? That is what was my question. If the pitch is not a flat deck, can you play T20 shots to get a result? Is my question.
No. You have to, depending on the nature of the pitch, you have to adjust as per the nature of the pitch. You cannot
So that's
say,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying. These flat
England is
tracks,
going to-
are they? Are they good
my feeling
examples
is
for
that England is
survival?
going to face some problem, on this bouncier tracks in Australia. Because
No,
this
that is fine.
baseball cricket
My
is not going
question
to.
is, these flat decks which are made for tailor-made only for baseball, they will not get these flat decks is different thing. Of course, they will not. I'm saying,
Uh,
is the flat decks which England are preparing, are they good enough for survival of Test cricket or no? What do
No,
you think?
this is not a good. The previous England pitches, in 90s or 2000, that was
Correct.
ideal
2000.
thing.
Correct.
That is not the right decision. This is a very wrong decision, and it is. I mean, these runs are piling up, and it's a not good advertisement for Test cricket. So I think
Correct.
maybe after after a certain failure, they might have a change of coach, and maybe they will revert to the old style of
Yeah, so
batting.
what we basically think is that Brandon McCullum, once he goes, there could be a change, which we discussed during the England series
Yeah,
also, that McCullum and Stokes
there
both are
might well
line.
because baseball is not going to yield good results for very long period of time, and there will be an inevitable change of coach, and maybe they will again revert to
Yeah,
their old
because
style
baseball
of
did not
batting.
help them to win the series. Everyone
Exactly,
thought England will win 3-1,
exactly.
4-1, but they
So
could
I think
not. They struggled badly.
it's a just a small phase. I think they are going. Maybe they will over the years again revert to the old style.
But my last point to you is India prepared a spinning track and lost 0-3 against New Zealand. This is the
Yeah,
other side of the spectrum. So what do you think? Why did that happen? Because India wants to win everything on spin, and India
yeah.
could not win. So that is also a bad example of pitches, I guess, for the revival of test matches.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was an very rare exception. That on spinning tracks, India losing 0-3. That is
Zero
something
three.
unacceptable and very shocking. In fact, somehow the New Zealand bowlers hardly had any spinners of note, but still
Mitchell
they
Santner,
managed to
I mean, no
uh,
one knew about
they
him.
managed to spin out India, and the
Correct.
batsmen simply crumbled, Indian batsmen. So that was I feel that was an exception more
So
of an
you are saying that
exception.
baseball pitch was also an exception, and then India 0-3 was definitely an exception, you
Zero
are
three is
saying.
an exception because the Indian nature of pitches, which India make, when they host any country, it's more or less it's a spin friendly tracks. There is not much
Correct.
difference, of the last
Mm.
since the 19 the when Azharuddin became the captains
Correct.
in
The
the
90s, mid
1993
90s, then
in the
93.
1993
Raju,
series, the
Raju
Indian
Chauhan and
India has
Kumble.
been making
Correct.
similar kind of pitches,
Similar kinds
when
of
they are hosting.
pitches.
Yeah,
Blank turners from day one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So thank you, Sudeep. I think we bring an end to this wonderful discussion today. We basically, I think, realized that Test cricket has to survive, will survive. Whether it will go for a pink test or will go for a 4-day test, as Oyan said, could be a revolutionary 2 days evening and 2 days morning, and a lot of things might change. But even at the stake of IPL and the money that is coming into all the franchisee leagues across the world, with West Indies perhaps being the only exception, and that's a very sad exception, which I've discussed before. Most of the teams are poised to survive both test matches and T20. But which Amit rightly said, a careful mix of T20 and the WTC cycle, which is a parallel synergy, would be the way forward. But I personally feel that the pink ball test should be more than compared to which Oyon also didn't agree. And of course, there is a point against it also because Indian bowlers have struggled, will struggle because of the reverse swing and the rough. But I think personally feeling that test matches need to change in India. Otherwise, not in India, across the globe. Otherwise, there might be a point where T20s might have more money. And maybe the only ruling roost. And Sudeep rightly said, ODIs might be the losing beneficiary. We'll have as soon a scenario where T20s and test matches are played. So we can only look forward and think that the ICC will bring in some changes, which will be need-based. And of course, test matches have to survive. On that note, we would like to draw curtains to a very good discussion today we had. Thanks, Ayan, Amit, and Sudeep. Thank you, all of us, on a weekend. And we look forward to meeting you again next week after hopefully the two Asia Cup Super 4 matches with Pakistan over. And if India wins tomorrow, Ayan is going to host the next show. Wednesday we'll
India
have.
loses. India
Oh,
loses to us.
India loses. Oyan hosts the next show. There's no doubt about it because there's a prediction from Oyan Banerjee, our expert, that India is going to lose tomorrow.
Not
So
which
tomorrow
is
with
going to. May
no,
I say?
you said India will lose tomorrow. So on a bated
We-
breath, we look forward to tomorrow's India Pakistan match. And on that note, I would like to say I would like to draw curtains, and if we would like to sign off tonight. Thanks once again, Oyan, Amit, and Sudeep, on a very lively discussion on the future of Test cricket. And we all feel that Test cricket must and should survive. Thank you and good night.